I pulled up to my mother's house at 11:47 that night. The porch light was off. I killed the engine and sat there for a second, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. Then I walked inside without knocking. The living room smelled like old lavender candles and something sour. I moved down the hallway to the guest room. The door was cracked open. I pushed it gently. Emily was curled up on the hardwood floor in nothing but her pink pajama top and underwear. No blanket, no pillow. Just a thin towel folded under her head. Her little body was shaking even though the heat was on. She was 6 years old. I dropped to my knees and touched her shoulder. She woke up with a gasp. "Mommy, she baby."
It's
"Me, we're going home." She started crying before I could even lift her, not loud. Just those small, exhausted sobs that break something inside you. I wrapped her in my coat and carried her out. Her bare feet were ice cold against my arm. My mother, Linda, appeared in the hallway in her silk robe. Hair perfectly set, even at midnight. She crossed her arms and sighed like I was the one causing drama. "Sarah, it's late. You're overreacting again." I didn't answer her. I just kept walking. She followed me to the door. "She's fine." She was being difficult. Kids need to learn boundaries. I buckled Emily into the car seat. My daughter's eyes were already closing again, exhausted. I shut the door softly and finally looked at my mother. 9 nights. 9 nights of this. That was the moment. I decided to cancel everything, quietly, completely, but she didn't know that yet. 3 weeks. Earlier, everything still looked normal on the surface. It was May 12th, 2026. I had just landed a big promotion. At the hospital, head of pediatric nursing staff in Portland, Oregon. The kind of raise that finally let me breathe after years of single parenting. My ex-husband had disappeared 2 years ago. Child support? Spotty at best. So when my mother offered to watch Emily for 9 nights while I attended a mandatory training conference in Seattle, I said yes. I thought it would be good for them. Bond, granddaughter and grandma time. Linda had been pushing for it. "You never let me have her long enough, Sarah. I'm retired now. I have the time." She lived in a nice 3-bedroom house in Beaverton, 20 minutes from us. Big backyard. Room full of toys she bought just for Emily. I packed my daughter's favorite stuffed bunny, her nightlight, her blanket with the stars on it, and dropped her off on a sunny Friday afternoon. Linda hugged me at the door, smiled wide. "We're going to have so much fun, aren't we, Emmy?" Emily nodded shyly and held my hand tighter. I kissed my daughter's forehead. "Be good for Grandma. I'll call every night." The first 2 calls were fine. Emily ate all her vegetables, Linda said on Saturday. We watched a movie. She's already asleep in the guest room. Sunday, she sounded a little shorter. She had a small tantrum at bedtime. "Nothing I can't handle." By Monday night, the tone had changed. "She keeps asking for you." "It's exhausting, Sarah. You spoil her too much." I was in my hotel room in Seattle, exhausted after 12-hour training days. "Mom, she's 6. She misses me. Can you put her on?" Linda sighed loudly. "She's already in bed. Don't disturb her now." I let it go. I was tired. I trusted her. I shouldn't have. On the 3rd night, Emily sounded different on the phone. Small voice. Hesitant. "Mommy." Grandma said I'm too old for my blanket. "What do you mean, baby?" She put it in the closet. Said big girls don't need special blankets. I asked to speak to Linda. She took the phone and laughed it off. She was being dramatic. I just moved it so she wouldn't drag it on. The floor. She's fine. I told myself it was just a blanket. I was coming back soon. But every night after that, the stories got worse. She made Emily eat dinner at the table alone while Linda watched TV in the other room. If Emily cried, Linda would say, "Your mother lets you act like a baby." Not in my house. On the 5th night, Emily wet the bed. Linda stripped the sheets, put them in the laundry, and told her 6-year-old granddaughter that if she couldn't control herself, she would sleep without sheets. The next morning, Emily slept on the floor for the first time. I didn't know the full truth until later. Linda only let me talk to Emily for 2 minutes each call. Always supervised. Always cut short. She's fine, my mother would say. Stop helicopter parenting. I was 400 miles away. I had sessions until 9 every night. I told myself 9 days wasn't forever. I sent Linda money for groceries and activities. I even paid for her hair appointment because she mentioned it casually. That was mistake number 1. Back to that night. I picked Emily up. I drove home in silence. Emily slept the whole way, wrapped in my coat. When we got to our apartment, I carried her inside, ran a warm bath, and washed the floor smell off her skin. She clung to me the entire time. Grandma said I was bad, she whispered while I brushed her hair. You are not bad. You are my good girl, the best girl. She fell asleep in my bed that night with her star blanket and her bunny in every light on. I sat on the edge of the mattress watching her breathe for almost an hour. Then I went to the kitchen, opened my laptop, and started planning. Linda had been talking about her dream retirement cruise for months. A 21-day Alaska luxury cruise. Inside cabin for her, balcony upgrade for herself. Total cost, $18,412. She had already paid the deposit, $12,000, using the joint account I had stupidly kept open with her from when Dad was still alive. The final payment was due in 6 days. She had also been hinting about me covering the rest. As a thank you gift for watching Emily, I had nodded vaguely, never promised. But she acted like it was already decided. I stared at the cruise booking confirmation she had forwarded me 2 weeks ago. Then I picked up my phone and made the first call. The cancellation window was still open. Full refund minus a small fee if done before final payment. I didn't hesitate. Hi, this is Sarah Thompson calling to cancel booking number. See, are you 7843921 under Linda Thompson? The agent was professional. Asked for the reason. I gave it. They processed it. $12,000 returned to the joint account within 48 hours. I immediately transferred every cent into a new savings account in only my name. Then I closed the joint account. That was the first quiet cut, but that was only the beginning. The next morning, Emily woke up at 6:30. She came into the kitchen rubbing her eyes. Mommy, are we going back to Grandma's? No, baby. You're staying home with me. She didn't smile. Just nodded slowly like she didn't quite believe it yet. I called my boss and took 2 personal days. Then I sat Emily down with pancakes and asked her to tell me everything that happened at Grandma's house. I didn't interrupt. I just listened. She told me about the floor. She told me Linda took away her nightlight after the second night because only babies need lights. She told me Linda made her stand in the corner for 45 minutes because she asked for a second helping of pasta. She told me Linda said, "Your mommy works too much. That's why you're so clingy. Grandma is teaching you to be strong." Every detail felt like a knife. I recorded it all on my phone. Not for court, just for me. So I would never forget and never soften. That afternoon I drove to my mother's house alone while Emily was with our neighbor. Linda opened the door smiling. "Back so soon? Did you forget something?" I handed her the small bag of Emily's things I had packed. "She won't be coming back here." Her smile faltered. "Excuse me? You made my daughter sleep on the floor for nights. You punished a 6-year-old like she was in prison." Linda rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. I was raising you the same way and you turned out fine. Kids today are too soft." I looked at her. Really looked. The woman who had criticized every choice I made since I got pregnant at 24. The woman who told me to keep it together when my husband left. The woman who always had an opinion but never real help. "I'm done, Mom. We're done." I turned to leave. She grabbed my arm. "Sarah Marie, don't you dare walk away from me. After everything I did for you. After watching that child for 9 days, I pulled my arm free. 9 days of floor time. We're finished." I got in my car and drove away. She stood in the driveway yelling my name. That was day 1 of the quiet cancellation. She still didn't know about the cruise. Asterisk, the following week was hard on Emily. She had nightmares. She woke up crying twice a night. She asked if Grandma was mad at her. I held her through all of it. I took her to the park every afternoon. I let her sleep in my bed. I bought her a new bigger nightlight shaped like the moon, and every evening, after she went to sleep, I worked on the next steps. Linda had been using my name on several things. An old credit card I had added her to years ago when she had medical bills. A streaming account. Even the Costco membership I paid for. One by one I removed her. Asterisk I changed passwords. I removed her as authorized user. I canceled the shared subscriptions. Small cuts, quiet ones. She started calling on day 4. I let it go to voicemail. Sarah, this is ridiculous. Call me back. Then again at night. I know you're home. Pick up the phone. I didn't. On day 6, she showed up at my apartment building. I watched her through the Ring camera. She was dressed nicely, holding a stuffed bear for Emily. She rang the buzzer for 20 minutes straight. I never answered. That night, she left a long voicemail. Her voice was sweet at first. Then it cracked. I don't understand what I did wrong. I love that little girl. You're punishing me for trying to help. Please, Sarah, let's talk like adults. I saved every message by the end of the second. Weak Linda was getting desperate. She didn't know about the cruise money yet. The bank was still processing the refund, but she could feel something was wrong. She called my sister Rachel in California. Rachel called me. Sarah, Mom says you're not letting her see Emily. What's going on? I told Rachel everything. The floor, the punishments. The cold room. Rachel was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I believe you. She did similar stuff to us growing up. I thought she changed with grandkids. She didn't defend. Linda, that was the first time someone outside my head believed me completely. I felt something loosen in my chest, but I still didn't tell anyone about the cruise cancellation. Not yet. I wanted Linda to feel the full weight when it hit. Around day 18 after I picked Emily up, the final payment date for the cruise passed. The cruise line sent Linda a confirmation that the booking had been canceled, and the deposit refunded to the original payment method, the joint account that no longer existed. She found out at 2:17. My phone started exploding. I let it ring. Asterisk, the first call came at 2:17 a.m. I was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea gone cold. Emily slept soundly in the next room, her new moon nightlight casting soft shadows on the wall. My phone lit up. Linda. I silenced it. It rang again 30 seconds later, then again. And again. By the 4th call I picked up, not because I wanted to talk, because I wanted to hear her voice when she realized what I had done. Sarah, what the hell did you do to my cruise? Her voice was sharp, half asleep and half furious. I spoke quietly. Calm. It's canceled. Silence on her end for 3 full seconds. You canceled my retirement cruise? Are you insane? That was my money, my trip. I already told my friends. The deposit was refunded, I said. To the account I closed. It's gone, Mom. All of it. She started breathing hard. I could hear her moving around her house, probably pacing the same hallway where I had found Emily on the floor. You vindictive little bitch. After I watched your daughter for 9 days. After I fed her and made her sleep. On the hardwood floor for the last 5 nights, I finished for her. Took her blanket, took her nightlight, made her stand in the corner until her legs shook. I know everything, Mom. Emily told me every single detail. Linda's voice shifted. She tried the sweet tone, the one she used when she wanted something. Sarah, honey, you misunderstood. It was discipline. Tough love. You were always too soft with her. I was only trying to help you raise a strong girl. I didn't answer right away. I let the silence stretch. Then I said, help is over. The cruise is the first thing. There will be more. I hung up. She called back immediately. I let it ring through to voicemail. She left 7 messages that night. I saved everyone. The next morning, Emily woke up smiling for the first time in weeks. She asked for chocolate chip pancakes. I made them. We ate together at the small table. By the window, sunlight poured in. No tension. No rules about how to sit or how much syrup to use. Mommy's grandma coming today. No, sweetheart. Grandma needs some time away from us. Emily nodded slowly and went back to her pancakes. She didn't push. 6-year-olds understand more than we give them credit for. After breakfast, I took her to the zoo. We spent 3 hours watching the penguins slide into the water and the giraffes stretch their long necks. Emily laughed when one penguin belly flopped. Real laughter. The sound I had missed for weeks. While she watched the animals, I checked my phone. 12 missed calls from Linda, 3 from my Aunt Karen, 1 from my sister Rachel again. I texted Rachel back. I'll explain everything tonight. Can you talk at 8? She replied instantly. Yes, and Sarah, I'm on your side. That meant more than she knew. Back at home, I put Emily down for a nap. Then I opened my laptop again. The quiet cuts continued. Linda had been an authorized user on my secondary credit card for emergencies. The one with the $9,000 limit. I called the bank and removed her. Effective immediately. No more charges. She had access to my Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon accounts because she liked to watch her shows when she visited. I changed every password. Logged her out of all devices remotely. The Costco membership I paid for annually, I downgraded it to single member and removed her card. Small things. But each one stung her exactly where she felt it. At 3:42 p.m. my phone rang. Linda again. This time I answered on speaker while I folded laundry. Sarah Thompson, you will put me back on that cruise right now or so help me God. I cut her off. The window closed yesterday. It's non-refundable now for rebooking. You should check your email. The cruise line sent all the details. She screamed, actual screaming. I raised you. I sacrificed everything. Your father left and I stayed. I worked 2 jobs so you could have dance lessons. And this is how you repay me? By stealing my dream trip. I folded one of Emily's tiny shirts. You made my daughter sleep on the floor. 9 nights total, but 5 of them without bedding. That was your choice. This is mine. She started crying. Loud, dramatic sobs. I'm your mother. You can't do this to family. I stayed silent, let her cry it out. When she quieted, I sighed. Family doesn't treat a 6-year-old like that. We're finished. Click. That evening after Emily went to bed, I called Rachel. I told her the full story again. The floor, the punishments, the cold voice messages. The cruise. Rachel listened without interrupting. When I finished, she let out a long breath. I always knew she was bad with boundaries, but this... Sarah, you did the right thing. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. We talked for 40 minutes. She told me stories from our childhood I had tried to forget. Linda locking her in her room for talking back. Taking away meals as punishment. The constant criticism that never stopped. I stopped letting her watch my kids alone years ago, Rachel admitted. I just never told you why. That phone call was the second open loop in my mind. Because if Rachel was willing to back me up, maybe others would too. But I wasn't ready to use that yet. I wanted Linda to feel isolated first. Completely. The next 10 days were a storm of messages. Linda texted every morning. Every night. Sometimes in between. You are breaking my heart. Emily needs her grandmother. I'm going to get sick from the stress. The doctor said my blood pressure is through the roof. I screenshotted everything. Saved it in a folder labeled evidence. Not for lawyers, for myself. To remember why I couldn't soften. On day 28 after I picked Emily up, Linda tried a new tactic. She showed up at Emily's school. I got the call from the principal while I was at work. Your mother is here claiming she has permission to pick Emily up early for a dentist appointment. We told her only you are authorized. I thanked the principal and immediately updated the school records. Added a note. Grandmother Linda Thompson is not permitted to pick up or visit Emily under any circumstances. When Linda found out, she left a voicemail that lasted 4 minutes. Her voice shook with rage. You are turning my own granddaughter against me. This is evil, Sarah, pure evil. I played it once while driving home, then deleted it. I didn't need her words in my head anymore. Emily was healing. Slowly but surely, she stopped waking up crying in the middle of the night. She asked for Grandma less. One afternoon, she drew a picture of our apartment with just the 2 of us and a big yellow sun. No third figure. I hung it on the fridge. We started new routines. Dance class on Tuesdays. Library story time on Thursdays. Quiet dinners where she could talk about anything. No corners. No punishments. Just love. But I still had more cuts to make. Linda had convinced me to co-sign on a small personal loan 2 years ago for her car repairs, $8,000. My name was on it. I called the lender and explained the situation. They agreed to refinance it solely in her name after I made one final payment to bring it current. I paid it. Then I notified her by certified mail that future payments were her responsibility alone. She received that letter on a Thursday. The screaming call came that same evening at 6:15 p.m. Emily and I were making spaghetti together. I let the call go. The voicemail was unhinged. You are destroying my life. First the cruise, now this. I can't afford the payments on my pension. You'll ruin me. I saved it too. By the end of the 5th week, the isolation was hitting her hard. My Aunt Karen called me. Linda says you've gone crazy. That you're keeping Emily from her for no reason. I don't know who to believe. I sent Karen the recordings.
Emily's
own words describing the floor, the corner, the blanket in the closet. I sent them without comment. Karen called back 2 hours later. Her voice was different. I had no idea. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I told Linda she needs to get help. That was progress. But still not enough. I wanted Linda to feel the full weight of consequences. Not just words, actions. The second major cut was coming. And this one would hurt more than money. Linda had been planning a big family reunion at her house in August. My cousins from Idaho, Rachel flying in, everyone. She had already booked caterers and sent out invitations using my email list from years ago. I quietly contacted every single family member. I told them the truth in short, factual messages. No drama, just facts. And I let them know the reunion was no longer happening at her house. If they wanted to see Emily and me, we could arrange something separate. Most of them were shocked. A few defended Linda at first. But the recordings did their work. By the middle of week 6, half the family had pulled out of her reunion plans. She found out on a Saturday morning. My phone rang at 9:08 a.m. I was pushing Emily on the swing at the park. I answered. Sarah, what have you done? Her voice was hoarse, broken. My own family, they're canceling. They said they won't come if Emily isn't allowed. How could you turn them against me? I pushed the swing gently. Emily giggled. I didn't turn anyone. I just told the truth. You did the rest. She started begging then. First time I heard real begging. Please. I'm sorry about the floor. I was too strict. I'll do better. Just let me see my granddaughter. I'll come to you. I'll sleep on the floor myself if that's what you want. I watched Emily's hair fly in the breeze. No, please, Sarah, I'm begging you. Don't do this. I hung up. That was the moment the second open loop tightened in my chest. Because I knew there was still one more big thing coming. Something that would end this once and for all. But she didn't see it yet. And I wasn't going to warn her. The following days, Linda's messages became a mix of rage and desperation. She left flowers on my doorstep with a note. I love you both. Please forgive. I threw them in the trash. She tried showing up at my apartment again. This time with a new doll for Emily. I watched on the camera as she cried in the hallway for 20 minutes before leaving. Emily saw none of it. I protected her from every second of the chaos. Inside, I felt stronger, clearer. The woman who had controlled so much of my life no longer had power, but the final cut was still ahead. The one that would make her understand this was permanent. Asterisk, the flowers kept coming. 3 bouquets in 1 week. Each with a handwritten card in Linda's neat cursive. To my beautiful granddaughter, Grandma misses you. I took photos of every card, then dropped the flowers straight into the complex dumpster. Emily never saw them. At work, I moved through my shifts on autopilot. Checking vitals, comforting scared kids, updating charts. But my mind kept circling back to the final cut I was preparing. The one that would close every door. It started with the house. My father had left the Beaverton house to both of us in his will, joint ownership, Linda lived there rent-free. I had never pushed the issue because it kept her stable and away from me. But after the floor incident, after the cruise, after the loan, stability no longer mattered. I called a real estate attorney on a Tuesday afternoon. Her name was Monica Ruiz. Sharp voice, no nonsense. I explained the joint ownership, the situation with my daughter, the documented neglect. Sarah, we can force a partition sale. It's not quick, but it's clean. You'd get half the equity. She'd have to move. I scheduled the paperwork for the following Monday. That decision sat in my stomach like a stone. But every time I remembered Emily's cold bare feet on that hardwood, the stone settled. Emily turned 7 on June 22nd. I threw her a small party at the apartment. Just us, Rachel who flew up for the weekend, and 2 girls from her dance class. Balloons shaped like unicorns. A strawberry cake with extra frosting. Emily blew out the candles and wished out loud for more nights with mommy and no more floor. Rachel hugged me tight in the kitchen later. You're doing this right. I told mom she can't come to my house anymore either. She hung up on me. We sat on the balcony that night after the girls slept. Rachel shared more stories. How Linda once threw away all her clothes at 16 because they were too revealing. How she monitored every phone call. How control was the only language. Our mother spoke. I wish I had been braver when you got pregnant, Rachel said. I should have helped more. Hearing that loosened something else inside me. I wasn't alone in this war. Linda found out about the attorney because the mailman delivered the certified letter to her door on July 1st. The letter outlined the intent to partition and sell the house. Her reaction came at 11:46 p.m. that same night. She drove all the way to my apartment and pounded on the door. I watched her on the Ring camera. Hair messy. Robe over pajamas. Face red and swollen. Sarah, open this door right now. You can't take my house. This is my home. I stayed, silent in the dark living room. Emily slept peacefully down the hall. I had already moved her to my room that night just in case. Linda kept pounding. I gave birth to you in that house. Your father died in that house. You heartless. A neighbor opened their door and told her to stop or they'd call the police. Linda screamed at the neighbor too. Eventually she left. But not before spitting on my welcome mat. I cleaned it at 1. While recording a voice memo of exactly what I saw on the camera. Evidence. The third open loop tightened around day 45. I had one final major cut prepared. Something that went beyond money or property. It involved the one thing Linda valued more than anything. Her image. She had spent years building this perfect grandmother persona on Facebook. Daily posts about baking cookies with Emily, trips to the park, heart emojis, and blessed captions. Even after I took Emily away, she kept posting old photos with captions like missing my sweet girl every day. Some parents just don't appreciate grandparents. I downloaded every single post. Then I created a private group chat with 23 family members and close friends. I uploaded a folder. The recordings of Emily describing the floor, the corner punishments, the cold room. The screenshots of Linda's angry voicemails. The Ring footage of her screaming at my door. I didn't add commentary. Just one message. This is why Emily is no longer allowed at Grandma's. I will not debate it. Protect the children. The group exploded quietly over the next 48 hours. Some relatives messaged me privately with support. Others stayed silent. 2 cousins unfriended Linda immediately. She noticed the drop in comments on her posts. Then someone screenshotted the private group and sent it to her. I know because she called me at 4:12 a.m. again. Asterisk, her voice was raw. You destroyed me. My own family is looking at me like I'm a monster. All because of one little discipline issue. Children need structure, Sarah. You'll thank me one day when she's not spoiled. I spoke for the first time in days. Structure doesn't mean making a terrified 6-year-old sleep on the floor for 5 nights. You're not a victim here. You did this. She tried manipulation again. I'm going to therapy. I'll change, please. Just one visit. Supervised. I'll do whatever you want. I let the silence hang. Then I said, the house sale is moving forward. You have 90 days to prepare. She screamed until her voice cracked. I hung up and blocked her number for the first time. Not forever. Just long enough to breathe. Asterisk Yuli turned into August. The summer heat pressed down on Portland. Emily and I spent weekends at the river, skipping stones and eating ice cream that melted down our hands. She asked about Grandma less and less. One evening she said, Grandma's house was always cold, even when the heater was on. That sentence stayed with me. The attorney called with updates. The appraiser had valued the house at $485,000. After the mortgage, we would each walk with roughly $180,000. Enough for Linda to buy something smaller. Enough for me to secure Emily's future without worry. Linda fought it every step. She hired her own cheap lawyer, sent letters claiming emotional distress, tried to say I was unfit. My attorney shut it all down with the evidence folder that grew thicker each week. Meanwhile, the family reunion she had planned was officially dead. Rachel hosted a small gathering at a park instead. Linda was not invited. When she found out, she showed up anyway. Stood at the edge of the park with a cooler of sandwiches, waving at the kids. I saw her from across the field. I walked straight to her. No, Emily, just me. You need to leave.
She looked smaller somehow. Eyes puffy. This is my family too. Not anymore. Not after what you did to my daughter. She reached out like she wanted to hug me. I stepped back. If you come near Emily again without my permission, I will file for a restraining order. Do you understand? For the first time, real fear crossed her face. She nodded once, then turned and walked away, dragging the cooler behind her like dead weight. By mid-August, the quiet cuts had done their work. Linda's social media went silent. No more perfect grandmother posts. Her friends from church started asking questions. One of them, Mrs. Hargrove, called me privately. Linda always said you were difficult. But after hearing the recordings, I'm praying for you and that sweet girl. I thanked her and hung up. Inside I felt a strange calm. The storm was still raging, but I was no longer in the middle of it. I was directing it. The final major revelation came on August 19th. The bank approved the partition sale. Closing date set for October 15th. Linda would have to vacate by then. She called from an unknown number at 7:30 p.m. that night. I almost didn't pick up. But something in me wanted to hear the final crack in her voice. Sarah, I'm begging you. Don't sell the house. It's all I have left. I'll sign whatever you want. I'll never see Emily again if that's what it takes. Just let me keep my home. Her voice shook. No anger this time. Pure desperation. I stood at the window watching Emily color at the table. You made your choices every single night she slept on that floor. Now I'm making mine. The house is going. We are done. She cried for a long time. I listened without speaking. When she finally whispered, I'm sorry, it sounded almost real. Almost. I hung up anyway. The third open loop was now fully visible in my mind. Everything was leading to one final meeting. One final moment where she would have to face what she had lost. I could feel it coming. And I was ready. The weeks after that phone call blurred into a quiet routine. Emily started second grade on September 3rd. She wore her favorite purple backpack and held my hand tight until the bell rang. Her teacher, Mrs. Patel, emailed me that first week saying Emily was kind, focused, and already making friends. No more nightmares. No more asking why Grandma's house was always cold. I kept working my shifts at the hospital. The promotion gave me better hours. I used the extra money to start a college fund for Emily. $500 a month. Automatic transfer. No one could touch it. The house partition moved forward on schedule. October 15th was the closing date. The realtor showed the property 3 times a week. Offers started coming in above asking price. Linda stopped fighting the paperwork. Her lawyer sent a single email saying she would vacate by the deadline. But I knew her. The silence was on peace. It was calculation. On September 28th I received a certified letter. Inside was a handwritten note from Linda and copies of old photos. Me as a baby. Emily as a newborn on Linda's lap. The note said, blood is thicker than water. One day you'll need me again. I forgive you. I filed it with the rest of the evidence. That same afternoon Emily came home from school with a drawing. It showed our apartment. Me, her, Rachel, and a big heart around all of us. No extra figure. She taped it next to the fridge herself. Mommy, are we safe now? She asked while eating apple slices. Yes, baby. We are safe. October 10th. 5 days before closing. My phone rang from an unknown number. I answered in the car after picking Emily up from dance. Sarah, it's me. Linda's voice was soft. Almost broken. I'm outside your building. Please come down. Just for 5 minutes. I have something for Emily. I parked and looked up. She stood on the sidewalk holding a large wrapped box. Pink paper. Big bow. Emily saw her from the back seat and froze. Mommy. Stay here, sweetheart. Lock the door. I'll be right back. I walked down alone. Linda looked smaller. Her hair had gray roots showing. The silk robe was gone. Just jeans and a plain sweater. I'm not here to fight, she said quickly. I brought this for her birthday. I missed it. Please. Let her have it. I didn't take the box. She doesn't need it. You need to leave. Linda's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time. I have nowhere to go after the 15th. The offers are all cash. They want it fast. I'll be on the street. You'll get your half. Almost $200,000. That's enough for an apartment. She stepped closer. I was wrong about the floor. I see that now. I was repeating what my mother did to me. I'm sorry. I'll go to therapy twice a week. Supervised visits only. Anything. I looked at her for a long moment. The woman who once controlled every part of my life now stood begging on a sidewalk in the rain that had just started falling. No. I turned to walk back to the car. That's when she dropped to her knees. Right there on the wet pavement in front of my apartment building. The pink box fell beside her. Sarah, please. I'm begging you on my knees. Don't sell the house. Don't take my granddaughter away forever. I'll do anything. Sleep on the floor myself. Let you set every rule. Just don't leave me with nothing. People walking by slowed down. A neighbor pulled out her phone. Linda didn't care. She stayed on her knees, hands clasped, rain mixing with tears on her face. I stopped. Not because I was softening. Because I wanted to remember this exact image. You had 9 nights to choose differently, I said. You chose the 4. You chose control. This is the consequence. I walked back to the car, got in, and drove away. In the rearview mirror I saw her still on her knees, watching us leave. Emily was quiet the whole ride home. Finally she asked, was Grandma okay? She'll be fine, I said. We're going to be better than fine. October 15th came. The house closed. My share of the equity hit my account at $1047 and $187,000 after fees. I transferred half of it immediately into a trust for Emily. The rest went into a high-yield savings for emergencies and her future. Linda moved out the day before closing. She left the house spotless. Almost too clean. Like she wanted to prove something. The new owners, a young couple with a baby on the way, sent me a thank you note. I never heard from Linda directly again for 3 weeks. Then on November 8 she sent one last email. No begging this time. Just 3 lines. I hope one day you understand what you've done. I loved you both. Goodbye. I read it once. Then archived it. Emily turned 7.5 in November. We celebrated with a quiet trip to the Oregon coast. We stayed in a small cabin with a fireplace. She collected shells on the beach and named each one. On the last night she looked up at the stars and said, I don't miss Grandma's house anymore. That was the moment the last open loop closed for me. I had protected her. Not with noise. Not with screaming matches. With quiet, deliberate actions that removed the threat completely. Rachel visited for Thanksgiving. We cooked together. No tension. No surprise visits. Just family the way it should be. Linda eventually moved into a small 1-bedroom apartment 20 minutes away. I know because my Aunt Karen told me. She doesn't have contact with Emily. She never will unless Emily chooses differently when she's older. But the recordings and the evidence stay saved. Just in case. I still work at the hospital. I still come home to my daughter every night. She sleeps in her own bed now with the star blanket and the midnight light and zero fear. And me. I sleep better than I have in years. The quiet cancellation worked. Every cut. Every boundary. Every consequence. Sometimes the strongest justice isn't loud. It's final. If you were in my position, with documented proof of your child being mistreated by a grandparent, would you have done the quiet cancellation the same way, or would you have gone louder and faster? Tell me exactly what your first step would have been. I read every single comment. Every one.